What's going on, everyone? Josh here, and today we're going to be talking about some things that you should never ever do when you're coming to Walt Disney World. So I was trying to look out for some vlog ideas. I reached out to our Facebook group. If you don't know about that, check the description down below. We have our own Facebook group. It's growing rapidly, and I just went over there and I asked them, I said, what are some things that are things that you should never do whenever you're coming to Walt Disney World? And we now have just about, I think, 300 comments. And so there's no way that I'm going to be able to mention everybody, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to mention everything that was said, but a lot of people have kind of posted the same thing, so we're going to kind of hit the big ones. So number one, being a travel agent with Gold Gal Getaways. If you'd like more information on that, you can also check the description down below. My number one thing is that you should never come to Disney World without planning your vacation ahead of time. Now, maybe you're a seasoned traveler coming to Disney World, you might be able to get away with it on the fly, but if it's your first or second time, it's really important that you plan your dining reservations. If you're looking for something special, a really nice sit-down restaurant, you really want to get on and book that out at 180 days in advance so that you can get the time that you specifically want. If you're looking for maybe something at California Grill, which is at the Contemporary overlooking Magic Kingdom around the fireworks time, you're going to have to really get on and get that time, soon. Otherwise, it's going to go out very, very quickly. Another thing is booking fast passes at 60 days in advance. If you're staying on Disney's property, that's at any of their Disney Valley resorts, their modern resorts, or their deluxe villas, you can book your reservations in 60 days in advance, and that is very key to getting some of those really hard to get rides. You might have heard of like Flight of Passage or Toy Story Midway Mania, Frozen. Those types of attractions are really, really hard to get. If you don't get a fast pass for that, you might be waiting in a line that's upwards of 2 hours. Randy from our Facebook group mentioned cutting in line. I think that's a big one, but something that should be attributed with that is having a member of your party hold a spot in line for you while you go and do something else. If you send one person in your party to go wait in line while you go and you try to go do something else, maybe ride another attraction or grab something to eat, whatever, and then you're coming back and maybe they've been waiting there for 45 minutes, and now you're trying to cut through the entire line to get up with that one person in line. That's a big no-no. It's still considered cutting no matter who's holding your spot in line. That is grounds for dismissal according to Disney, and you could get kicked out of the parks and not get a refund for your ticket. So do not do that. It's really, really frowned upon. I love seeing, you'll always see the guys that are just, especially over at Space Mountain when the fast pass line can get really long. I always see this, it's the guy and he's walking and he's cutting through the standby line, and he's like talking on his phone, and he's like looking for people, and he's just like, he just keeps going. Then he'll jump out, maybe he'll walk up, and then he'll jump back in. Don't do that. You can be kicked out of the parks and be asked to leave, not get a refund. Not cool. This is something that I think that we say often, or maybe we don't say it often enough, but you should never buy a bottle of water at Walt Disney World. It's super overpriced. It's definitely not worth it. You can walk up to pretty much any quick service, counter service restaurant, or a stand that serves or sells soft drinks and ask for a cup of water. Sometimes they'll give you a big cup, sometimes they'll give you a small cup. We kind of know which locations give us what size cups, so depending on what that is, we'll ask for more cups. They're not gonna tell you no. If you want 4 cups of water, you can get 4 cups of water. Just keep that in mind, that you can save yourself a lot of money throughout the entire week. John from our Facebook group had also mentioned about downloading the My Disney Experience app before you come. This goes hand in hand with what I had said at the beginning as number one, in that you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache by already having the My Disney Experience app downloaded. On the app, you're going to be able to see all of your dining reservations. You're going to be able to see all of your fast passes. You'll actually even be able to see tickets that are linked. That includes Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party or Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Those things will get linked to your account, and you can see those, pull those up. If you're a Disney Vacation Club member or an annual pass holder for the first time and you're coming down, link those to your account. If for some reason you forget your annual pass card or your DVC card, you can always show them your phone. You can always show them your membership and passes just by going to the My Disney Experience app, going to your account and clicking on membership and passes. They'll pop up as long as they've been linked, and it's really important for you to do that because it's really going to save you a lot of heartache, if you forget something. There's been plenty of times where we go to where we buy something at a shop or we're using our discount for something else, and either I don't have my DVC card or I don't have my annual pass card, because I always have it on my wrist, and I can just pull that up, show them my ID, show them it on my phone, and I'm good to go. So this is not as important, maybe say during the winter time. The winter months, it's a little bit more dry, there's not as much rain, but if you're coming anytime from about May until October, you're gonna be hitting the raining season. It can get wet really fast. Downpours are like crazy. They don't tend to really last all that long. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they're pretty short, but it's very, very heavy rainfall. One thing that you do not want to be caught doing is buying a poncho from Disney. I mean, unless you really want it as a souvenir option, but if you don't really take care of it afterwards, it's gonna get really moldy and gross, and you're probably not gonna wanna keep it. To save you money from doing that, you can always go to a dollar store or a Dollar Tree, something like that, even Walmart. The local Publix down here usually have ponchos for $1. They can rip easily, but they're cheap. You can get them for $1. Pretty sure a poncho runs anywhere from like 10 to 15 bucks on Disney property. So if there's 4 of you in your family and you need to buy 4 ponchos, that adds up quickly rather than just spending $4 or $5 for whoever's in your party for something cheap. Going hand in hand with kind of trying to drink plenty of water and being prepared for the summer months. If you're bringing kids down here and it's your first time, I know it's like really, really hard to try to want to push your kids and do as much as you possibly can and get everything done because you want to make it worth your money. You're gonna have a much better time if you allow your kids and yourselves to really take a break during the day. This is why we really push for park hoppers. I know that they're a little bit more expensive, but it gives you a lot more flexibility with your time. Even without a park hopper, you can still do this technique, which is where usually when we travel with Taylor's family to Disney World and she has her sisters and her cousins who are younger, we'll go and show up early in the morning, and we'll kind of go to about lunchtime, and then we'll take a break for a couple of hours. We'll go back to the resort. People can take a nap if they want to take a nap. Kids can go play in the pool, take a nap, do whatever, just kind of unwind, get away from waiting in line, get away from sitting in the heat. It really will help to make your vacation a little bit more magical and a little bit more relaxing. All right, this one really applies to me myself. I mean, look at this. You can see that I'm losing hair on my head every single day. It's really, really hard to deal with. But listen, you have got to have sunblock down here. The heat and the sun are brutal, especially if you're coming from somewhere up north. You're really not used to it. It is brutal. I burn like within the first 30 minutes of being out there without having any sunblock on. There's plenty of times where I forget sunblock. You don't want to buy sunblock on Disney property. It's going to be really overpriced again. So always, always, always make sure that you bring sunblock with you. So coming back to just a few more things. These two things I think go hand in hand. Flash on dark rides, flashes during fireworks, and children being on shoulders. So I kind of wrap these things together because here's the thing. You don't want to use a flash on a dark ride. Being that it's a dark ride, it's meant to be dark. That kind of gives the illusion to the ride, to whatever it is. Haunted Mansion's a perfect example. Now, on the same token, you don't want to be that guest who's yelling at another guest, 5 carts down to turn your flash off. You're going to be ruining the experience for everybody else that's behind you. Granted that it's probably not making your experience all that great, try to think about everybody else as well. Because we've been in that situation where there's somebody who is 2 cars over, they're using their flash. Granted, I will yell at least once and say, hey, turn your flash off. But if they keep doing it, I don't do it because other people who are further down who probably don't see the flash, but they can hear me yelling and making a really loud, obnoxious noise. Flashes do not help you when you guys are trying to record fireworks. We see this all the time when we go in and we are either recording for the fireworks or we're just there to watch the fireworks. You see a ton of people that hold their phones up in the air and they have their flash on. The flash is really not going to help your video quality come out any better at all. So just make sure that it's turned off. I know sometimes it's not necessarily noticeable just because you're holding it up in the air and there's nobody really in front of you to cast that light. But people that are beside you just get this blaring light right in the side of their face. It's really distracting. It's not really cool for you to do. We've had discussions about this ourselves. Putting kids on your shoulder, don't do it. It is frowned upon, especially during the fireworks. I think it's definitely okay to hold your kids, their heads at pretty much level with your heads. This is really tough being a short person, and when you get stuck behind some tall guy who puts his kid on his shoulders, and it's like you're trying to look over a mountain and you're not seeing anything. But everybody has paid a price to get into the parks, so just always be mindful of those that are around you. It makes your experience and everybody else's experience that much better. Last thing that I have to say is do not ever assume that Disney is only for kids. Taylor and I are adults. We have plenty of adult friends that come down here. There is plenty of space for you to go do whatever you want to do, whether that's ride attractions, drink out at the lounges, hang by the pool, do something at a spa. There's all kinds of activities for you to do all around Walt Disney World. You know, it's all meant for you to enjoy. This doesn't just have to be for families. This is for couples. This is for singles. Anybody and literally everyone can come here and enjoy it. So just remember that and keep that in mind, that it's really for everybody and not just kids. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you want, you can check out our How to Disney Transportation video. It's going to pop up right here. It really talks about in detail how to get around Walt Disney World property and the different forms of free transportation that are for you, and that you don't actually have to be staying on property to use them. Best take advantage of that while you can before something changes. Fingers crossed that it never does. We have dining reviews that come out every single Monday. Thanks for watching, guys.